Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Dailymotion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, around 7:04 in the morning in Berwick, Massachusetts. Sun's coming out, and it's very warm. We did not reach freezing overnight, which is a good thing. We had some rain showers in the area, which is good, and the snow's going to continue to melt today. Highs are going to be in the mid-50s. This is a taste of spring. Tomorrow, back to normal weather for this time of year, the low 40s, but more melting on the way for Thursday and Friday. We might get some rain and snow the weekend. Some news to report. The Boston Bruins beat the Ottawa Senators by the score of 3-1 last night. The Bruins are continuing to get points. That's good because we need the points to get the wild card spot. And the New York Jets have signed Darrelle Revis to a 5-year contract worth $70 million. And MLB Network has announced they hired a new reporter, Kelly Nash, who previously worked for Fox Sports Florida and Sun Sports in Florida as a reporter and host. And that's about it on the news. My first video subject of the day is about the TV cable network Comedy Central. Comedy Central is one of the best cable networks in the United States. It's known for comedy programs and stuff. And here is the history about Comedy Central. Comedy Central actually started out as two comedy networks. The Comedy Channel, which was launched in 1989. It was owned by HBO, and it showed old movies and usually highlights of like comedy comedians and comedy shows. And Ta, which was the comedy network, launched on April 1st, 1990, which was owned by Viacom, and it showed reruns of like classic television sitcoms. And both of these cable networks, the Comedy Channel and Ha, were struggling to get on cable systems across the United States. Some of them had to be time shared with other cable networks. And by early 1991, Comedy Channel and Ha decided to merge together with operations. And on April 1st, 1991, the Comedy Channel and Ha merged together and they formed Comedy Central. Originally, Comedy Central's early lineup consisted of daily reruns of sitcoms like Love American Style and That Girl, and they also showed old Abbott and Costello movie shorts, and they showed the classic like TV game show You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx, and Your Show of Shows, and the Steve Allen Show, and they showed TV's bloopers and practical jokes. And they also showed, I think, reruns of Soap and a couple of others, plus old comedy movies. And the early original programming on like Comedy Central during the early years was politically incorrect with Bill Maher, and they showed Dr. Katz, professional therapist, and Win Ben Stein's Money, a game show hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, and with Ben Stein, and Short Attention Span Theater, which had like Jon Stewart as one of its hosts. And its main show that was on the main hit flagship show of Comedy Central during its early days was Mystery Science Theater 3000, which they showed cheesy movies and they commentated on that. And also the network showed reruns of the British version of Whose Line Is It Anyway, and the Canadian comedy show Kids in the Hall. And the voiceover of Comedy Central during these early years was magician and comedian Penn. And Comedy Central was a decent cable network, but it was struggling to get into cable homes across the United States and stuff because it didn't really have a hit show until like the late 90s. 1996, The Daily Show was launched, hosted by Craig Kilborn, and it was a decent show, but it did not get it did not become a major hit until Jon Stewart took over as host in 1999. And then, in 1997, Comedy Central got its most breakout hit. The breakout hit for Comedy Central was a adult cartoon called South Park, which was created by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and it was about 4 kids in a fictitious town called South Park, Colorado. Kenny, Kyle, Stan, and Cartman, and it showed the adventures of them throughout the day and stuff, and they like mimic like comedy stuff and stuff like that. South Park got a very big hit, and it got big ratings for Comedy Central, and by word of mouth, South Park became the breakthrough hit of Comedy Central, and more cable systems picked up Comedy Central, and it was on its way. 1998, Comedy Central broke 50 million cable homes, which that's very great for a cable network if they get into 50 million homes. That means that they're a smash hit. And then more original shows start popping up to Comedy Central, like Reno 911, The Chappelle Show, and the Primetime Glick, a talk show hosted by Martin Short as Jimmy the Glick, Insomnia with Dave Attell, The Man Show, which lasted 5 years, Touch 2.0, Crank Yankers, and so many other hits on Comedy Central over the years and stuff like that. They also showed Futurama, a cartoon that was on Fox for a few years. They put it on a few years. And also the Daily Show with Jon Stewart became one of its signature programmings. One of the reporters on the Daily Show was Stephen Colbert, but he got his own show in 2005. And in 2000, around the mid-2000s, Comedy Central had comedy specials once in a while called Comedy Central Roast, which would roast celebrities, hosted by Jeff Ross. And some of the celebrities they roasted over the years were David Hasselhoff, Pamela Anderson, Donald Trump, Hugh Hefner, and so many others. These Comedy Central roasts were like a throwback to the old Dean Martin roast back in the 60s and 70s, but the Comedy Central roasts were a little bit more raunchier, a little bit more funnier, and stuff, and they were highly rated for Comedy Central. And also Comedy Central has acquired rerun rights in the past to like recent hits of television comedies that were on networks like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and 30 Rock, but they weren't doing too good in the ratings for reruns on Comedy Central, and they were dropped. And also like Comedy Central has acquired movie rights to like great comedies the past few years, but they have to edit it for time restriction, plus in addition to get out of the foul language, where they eliminate some scenes just to cut it in for television format. And Comedy Central is a great network, and it's consistently in the top like 15 most highly rated cable networks in the United States. And it's a good network to watch these shows. I think it's one of the best networks. I watch it for South Park and stuff. I used to watch it back in the day, early 90s, when they had the reruns of TV's bloopers and Practical Joke with Ed McMahon and Dick Clark, and I also watched reruns of Soap, and I used to watch the old Short Attention Span Theater and Mystery Science Theater 3000. I used to always watch South Park back in the day on Comedy Central. And that's about it on Comedy Central. Be back later. Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Daily Motion, and Twitter. 2 more video blogs of the day. First will be about the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And the third and final video blog of my personality profile, Christian Leitner. Have a good day. Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, Twitter. And great feedback on these video blogs. Hey, if you want to shout out Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Daily Motion, on Twitter, a shout out or plug, private message me and I'll plug it and I'll shout it out to you. Have a good day, everybody.